Hi, I'm Jackie Tantillo, and this is Should Have Listened to My Mother. Before I introduce this week's guest, I'm so excited to remind everybody that Should Have Listened to My Mother has been nominated for a 2023 People's Choice Podcast Award. Yay! And we appreciate all of your support. Should Have Listened to My Mother can be found wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube. And please tell a friend and rate the show because we welcome your feedback. This week, I have two quotes from my guest. First, Michelle says, "The apple does not fall far from the tree," regarding her relationship with her mom. And one of her mother's bits of advice: "Where are your Wonder Woman cuffs and shield?" Michelle explains that her mom meant you can't please all the people all the time. Do what is right for you and your family. I can't wait to hear the rest of that story. What I do know about Michelle Hoffmann is that she's the author of 5 books, including Life Worth Living and New Management Blueprint, both international bestsellers. Michelle Hoffmann is a master life and relationship coach. After the loss of her husband, she transformed her life, and now she's helping others find love and happiness once again. If you check out her Relationshiping 101 website, she'll tell you first impressions matter. She asks the questions, are you attracting losers? The same kind of people as your ex? Or someone even your mom would question? Oh my gosh, this is going to be fun. Michelle Hoffmann, welcome to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
I'm so happy to be here. There's so many great things going on, and I just got off the phone with my mom, so she's super excited about this too.
Oh, how did you refer to your mom and tell us her name, her first name?
Are you ready? Take a breath. My mother's name is Anna Sue Michael Miss Muffet Baby Doll Mimi.
How about if I go with Anna? What was it,
Yeah.
Anna?
Anna Sue Michael Miss Muffet Baby Doll Mimi. Yep, that's her name. She's earned a very loving name through the years because we've all given her our own pet names. So we just add them all up.
Oh, that is brilliant. And where do you hail from? Where's your background, your family background as a child?
So California. I'm a California girl.
Great. California. Wonderful. And do you speak regularly to Anna Sue Michael Miss Muffet Baby Doll Mimi?
Oh, Anna. Oh, yeah. We talk every day. We still have a lot of information that we share with one another. There's a lot going on in that relationship for sure.
So how many siblings do you have?
So we are 4 altogether. So I have 3 older siblings, and everyone has been able to benefit from the gift of love that my mom shares with us as her children and my late father. But also she has this glow that she emanates, that's this welcome, warm embrace. Come into the kitchen, have a seat at the table. Whatever we're cooking, there is enough for you to join us. And my mom has taught me to see the light in other people.
Where did your mom grow up? And is she Italian? Because when people mention food, I got to go there because I'm Italian.
Right. I think that the cultural aspect of that is very similar. So she was born in New York to a Jewish family. And I think that culturally, Jews and Italians and that warm welcome feeling of you're a part of our family when you're here with us. And then you're always part of our family, that loyalty that you will feel valued and valuable when you are in my mom's presence.
You feel comfortable.
Right. And so she's a New Yorker who raised her family in California.
Wonderful. And did she go to school? Did she work? Tell us kind of what her experience growing up was like.
So her story, all those names, The first middle name she got, Sue, was when she went to get her driver's license and they asked what her middle name was, and they insisted that she had one, but she said she was too poor and that her family couldn't afford to give her a middle name. So she and the Department of Motor Vehicles didn't accept that. So she said Sue.
Was she really from a poor family?
Yes, a very poor family. And what's very interesting, and I've seen this throughout my life, that people have intelligence. There's an IQ, so intelligence quotient, there's an emotional quotient, there's an SQ, spiritual quotient, PQ, physical quotient, there's AQ, adversity quotient. Whoo, that's how much resilience you have. I've got plenty of that one, fortunately. But we don't love exercising that one, of course. And there's all these different types of intelligence. My mom is still quite brilliant, but she didn't have the opportunity to exert and hone that skill. So her curiosity and her interest in life and her ability to relate to people and see what makes them shine is how she's really succeeded in the world. In New York, her oldest sister had asthma, and the doctor recommended that they move to California for different weather. And that's how she migrated to California. And there is where she worked. And she worked in department stores. And when she met my father, then she started working in the banking industry. And she was just telling me this story the other day that there was one day and they were sitting in a big boardroom and the boss's boss asked some question about how they were going to develop a new system, an IT system, to support the entire process the way that they do banking there. And my mom's manager said, well, Anna, can you go up to the chalkboard, I guess it was at the time, and, plot that out for the engineers in the room? And she was like,
That's great. That's great. Not many men believe in themselves enough to support a woman who's smart and capable, right?
Right. And she was like a little doe-eyed for a moment, took a breath, and she went up to the, board and she laid out the way the entire system works. And they all stood up and applauded her because that was the blueprint for the engineers to develop a program to support the whole banking system that they used.
That's pretty great. It's like the women that worked at NASA.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
So my mom doesn't realize how brilliant she is, but the people around her do.
She's always nice to have in your posse, right? Someone that come. So
Yeah.
this was innate. A lot of her gifts, her shine, her brilliance, her vivaciousness. This is kind of how she was born.
Yeah, I think there's nature and nurture in this because when we're given an opportunity to be curious and ask open-ended questions, or rather than just told the answer and told what to do and, instructed to do this, and that, my mom was someone who would, I just thought of another one. She would give you opportunity to share whatever was going on with you, and she listened. And then she would go, aw. And then it would be like this. It would be like a wham. What are you going to do about that? What outcome do you want and how are you going to achieve it? So, when we were little, it was more she would play cards with us or whatever, read together, but she would let us win as much as we had capacity to, and then she would support us a little. So there was this incredible support in the way that she was fostering our developmental growth. And that's a gift.
That's a gift. And that's what a lot of kids today need, because that's kind of the piece of the puzzle that's missing with everyone on cell phones and computers and the two parental incomes and that interaction and engagement. It's crucial for our kids to be grounded.
I would agree with you. Knowing that we were expected to show up to the dinner table and engage and participate made us feel like we were an important and vital part of the family. No matter what we brought to the table. Because sometimes the table conversation was
got a little wild.
We ended up with a lot of pets, let's just say. My oldest brother was really good at negotiating for animals.
Right. So I was just going to ask, speaking of siblings, is your relationship with your mom, you're the youngest, correct? Is your relationship or your experience with your mom similar to the older siblings' relationship with your mom?
Yeah. I think we've all grown. We've all become very successful. We've all built families and lives that we love. And we're really, you think you have one kid and you think you know anything about parenting, and then you have another and go, well, I know nothing about parenting.
I agree.
We're each very, very different in our persona, in our presence, in our personality, in our likes and dislikes. And there's opportunity for each of us to create our own impact in the world. And she certainly has fostered that throughout our lives. So wildly different personalities and people and successes and choices. And it's amazing that, I do believe that a large part of that was due to both my parents' support and, encouraging that, and that there was an expectation to do and be whoever you want to be. The best version of yourself is how we say it today.
Yeah, but it's very important. I mean, you can say it a million different ways, but the basic idea, the concept is that we are each unique. You can't assume all your kids are going to be the same. You can't bundle them together and say this is going to make them happy. It worked for the first one. It most definitely won't work for the second one, and on and on and on. My older son, when he was born, he came out and he yawned. My younger son was screaming. and those are kind of...
And that personality stays throughout the line.
And, that's for future parents out there. It just is wonderful. And they're both amazing boys. And they really admire and appreciate the relationship that my husband and I have, because we are very, very close. And that is an important lesson, too, for kids to see the relationship that their parents are in. Hopefully it's a happy and healthy one.
Well, that's a role model for all the relationships that we have in our lives. And when you can have that modeled for you in your home, in your family, you know what you're looking for. I know right now, a lot of the times I've become the role model for people who didn't have a role model. So they know that they are perfect exactly as they are and who they are, and that they can have a healthy relationship. And by attracting the right person who's right for them, not the person your friends or your parents think you should have, but attracting the person who's right for you specifically, then you can relax into your skin and be yourself and enjoy the partnership. And I think that's what you're alluding to.
Yeah. So what kind of fun things would you and your mom ever go out shopping together? Or what did you do for fun?
Oh, gosh. My mom and I, well, you know what? This might surprise you. My mom and I play gin rummy together, but we don't play like other people play. Suddenly, I mean, we're very clear in our roles. She is the mother. I am the daughter. We're very good partners. We would go shopping and we would take the ferry into San Francisco, and we'd go on adventures and we'd go on cruises and things like that, adventures and vacations together. We'd go up to the cabin constantly up in the Gold Country. And it was this great getaway where we could just do and be anything. And there was nobody for 100 miles. And it was a very great escape sanctuary. But what I want to talk about is how we sit down to a game of gin rummy. Suddenly, we are not friendly. And we call it gin and champagne because we each have our vice. So we might, like, on a perfect day, on a celebration, she might have had a gin and tonic. I would have a glass of champagne, and the 7 cards are dealt, and the shark's teeth are out, and we play to win. Because, as I said before, growing up, she would let us win to our capacity or just before, and she'd only play as hard so that it was an entertaining game. But guess what? We're both really savvy now, so no holds are barred.
Gloves are off. Cards are on the table.
And we get snarky with one another, and we watch each other's tell with, like, the way that we move our hands or our eyes, and we'll, like, point the finger at this and look at the card that, are you counting cards? And just as long as those 7 cards are in our hands, suddenly we are competitors. And it's so lighthearted and loving and playful. And the moment one of us hits gin, it's like, oh. And then when the cards are put away, it's back to this softness and loving again. But there is something very unusual. Our personas totally shift when we're playing gin rummy.
Who usually wins?
Ooh, she's really good at this game. I'm going to give her the fact that she does win, but it's a tough competition. Sometimes there's winning streaks her way or mine, and we'll put some serious pennies on who wins. But it's serious in the moment, or whoever loses has to, gets to make dinner or choose what we're having. Whoever wins gets to choose what we're having for dinner or something like that. So high stakes.
So it seems like she's a very big part of your life.
Oh, yeah.
And you're very lucky, to still have her in your life, which is wonderful. I know that you lost your husband. Tell me the role that she played to help you through that very sad period.
For some reason, I was like, tell me the role your mother had with your husband. Those two were buddies.
Oh, that's a good question, too.
Really, really tight. And I mean, that it makes it all the more wonderful that we got to share those relationships together. And that the loss is also equally as deep in that regards. My mom lost my dad, and in the Jewish tradition, there are ceremonies, there's traditions to help us know what to do when we don't know what to do. And so, unfortunately, I had that role model, that path set out for me of go ahead and grieve and mourn. And then at some point, and this is how I help people through grief and loss, invite grief in to have a cup of tea at the table and have a chat or thought to figure out really, what does grief hold so it doesn't have a hold on you? Identify what you treasure and honor what grief holds to help you move through and forward with your life. Because we are given this one precious life, and losing a loved one is unbearably painful. And that pain never goes away. But I was thinking of the metaphor of a beautiful painting on your wall. I was just thinking of this the other day. And it's like the grief doesn't go away. And I will visit it, and I will think of every paint stroke on that painting and every moment, the big picture, the details, all of it. And I still appreciate it, having that painting on the wall, or my memories, or all that relationship brought to me, my life, the children, and everyone else, the incredible impact that my late husband had in the world. And that I don't sit and stare at the painting. I know the painting is there for me and it changed my life for the better, but I don't have to stay staring at the painting. So my mom pulled herself together, pulled her life together, built, she reinvented herself.
On her
and
own.
on her
Or,
own.
okay. How old was she when your father passed?
She was in her 60s.
Okay. And you when your husband passed?
Well, he was in his 40s. Um, so, I mean, not a comparable thing. I
No, but
do.
you like you said, you were able to watch your mom, let alone losing your father, but you also watched your mom mourn. In times like this, some people are afraid to show their emotions because they think that you shouldn't be able to show your emotions. You know, like especially for a mother, she has to be stoic and all that for the kids. But I think it's important for a family to embrace those emotions, sad or happy. It's traumatic. You can't ignore them because they're going to erupt sooner or later.
Well, also, I want to know my mom loved. I know my mom loved her husband and my father, and my husband, and to not demonstrate and move through emotions, as you're saying, they do get stuck. I believe that our emotions are like guideposts and landmarks, and that they are informing us of something. And to live life fully, you can live with full emotions, and you can have more than one emotion at a time. As a parent, I am thrilled for the successes of my children. And at the same time, I am pulled because life would have been so different with my husband present, with their father's pride as well as my own. So, it is true that we do need to move through our emotions and experience all of them fully and not shut them down, because they are informing us of something just like all of our other senses are. If you're touching a stove that's hot, you need to know, ouch, don't touch that for too long. But when you're sad, know that you valued something so incredibly that this is the feeling of when you don't have it, so that you know which way you want to go in life.
Some people are given a gift of that self-understanding of how to embrace these extreme emotions, and some people aren't. Some people have a very hard time, and you transitioned your life into this master life and relationship coach, and now you're helping many, many people all over the world. And it's fantastic because, again, some people have never been able to truly express themselves. And I think that there's so much of a loss there, not only loss of true life appreciation and happiness. If it's all bottled up, I don't think that's healthy for someone.
Absolutely true. Not everyone was given the gift of such an incredibly wonderful mother like I've had the gift of. However, and that role model is valuable. So now I wrote the guide I did not have, the Life Worth Living Guide, and I've got 3 more books coming out in the Find Love Now series. My publisher's got them just almost ready to release. And I get to help people by being their role model, by helping them release that whatever is blocking them so they don't have to hide anymore, so that they can step into who they would like to become, live their precious life their way, and invite all the right relationships so that they can enjoy them in their lives in such a valued and valuable way as well.
Without losing themselves. And men and women have to love themselves, then they'll attract the right person into their life. But it's also really important to have your own identity.
Knowing who you are. There's this big push for self-love for women in transition, self-love, self-love. Well, sometimes we get a clearer image of who we are when we reflect who we are in relationships. And through those we want to have a relationship with ourselves, absolutely. And that needs to be a healthy relationship, whatever it is. And then reflecting who you are through relationships with other people gives you a whole new clarity of where you fit in the world, who you can be in the world, who you'd like to be in the world. and who you'd like to invite in closer and or distance yourself from those relationships that you have in your life.
When I'm talking to my sons, a flag comes up like a red flag, and it might be the simplest little thing. It's there for a reason. Something inside you, your gut, your conscious is telling you. So just don't ignore those little signs and don't settle.
Right. And just as you were saying about emotions are signals also. So if there's a red flag, like, oh, that's a deal breaker, the choices that you're making in your life are not choices I would make in my life, then that's a signal to distance. If it's, I call it a yellow flag, then, that's a signal to ask some open-ended questions of, did I understand this correctly? To make sure that you're aligned with the people you have in your life. And if all is going smoothly, I call those a green light, go. And that's how all relationships go, from chemistry to casual to committed. And that green light go is the signal that it's a handshake that, hey, this is good. We're going to, continue on in this relationship. And that's how you up-level a relationship.
And really, what do you have to lose? If you're open and honest from the beginning, these little things, you just start those honest conversations and it makes the relationship even better. It really does.
Laying the groundwork for a solid foundation of a relationship is the best thing you can do at the very beginning. What I hear is that people are seeking happiness. What I see and learn is that people are seeking calm and safety in relationships so they can relax into who they want to be. And they feel like they have a safe platform in this partnership so that they can reach out beyond themselves and expand beyond their comfort zone, which helps individuals grow as individuals as well as in the partnership. It's an absolutely beautiful thing to have relationships where the communication is clear enough that you build trust and respect. Without them, we feel sad, alone, lonely, depressed, isolated. And boy, the world has been pushing people apart lately. So to have the skills to build real and meaningful relationships in your life makes life even better, because life is better with good love in it.
Hallelujah. Michelle Hoffmann, your website, theartofrelationshipping.com. Check it out, please. Many, many books by Michelle published already and more coming out in the near future. Master Life and Relationship Coach. Please say hello to your mom, Anna Sue Michael, Miss Muffet, Baby Doll Mimi.
What a pleasure. She'll be delighted.
Thanks so much, Michelle. And we will be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother.